enchanted by her glamour. In shimmer of ultramarine, shot cobalt, crushed gunmetal, midnight oil splashed with glitter, browns and greens or pinks and yellows, a fluidity of shades that dazzle and flux. Her daily pilgrimage to the shore brings murmurs of mermaid, of siren or selkie. She's none of these. But she has sealed a pact to watch for abusers, intruders, polluters. Her reward? To stand at the flow, waiting for the sea's hues to match her mood. Then she steps down, rolls in its lap, slick, fast, for the water's fickle flirts with sun and cloud to recast colour. She rises, clothed, one of the chosen illusion of chameleons. How do I know? Can you not guess? From the horizon to the beach, from the alien island to the misshapen pier, there is nothing that escapes my gaze. Turn. See how I'm dressed.
Dot wiped the steam from the window with her gloved hand and peered out onto the cobbled high street. The first flakes of seasonal snow were falling, and the shoppers, many laden with parcels, were hurrying by. She scanned the faces. If the clock was correct, she only had another 10 minutes to wait. She called to the young girl at the counter. "Cup of tea, please, dear." The waitress beamed down at Dot. "Anything else for our best customer?" "Oh, go on then," Dot said, wrinkling up her nose as she smiled at the young girl. "I'll have another sticky bun if you've any left." Dot enjoyed living on the edge. Her husband had frequently mentioned how attractive he'd found her spontaneous urges, but towards the end he hadn't been able to say anything much. She sniffed. Oh, how she missed him. The door of the cafe jingled and sprang open, distracting her from further maudlin thoughts. Wispy white flakes were rapidly melting onto a voluminous red woolen mass which was thrusting itself into the cafe. The mass began to wobble from side to side, then a torso appeared, followed by a head of auburn curls. Dot gasped. "Susan, I thought you'd gone to Blue-Water for the day." "Oh, wait up a minute, Mum," the mass shouted. "This umbrella won't fasten." "Allow me."
Often before play we must pay her a visit, bearing stale cake, suspect meat, milk on return. I dawdled behind, hoping we'd not find her den, which seemed to come and go like Brigadoon. But Jo had internal sat-nav that always led us to her dilapidated dormobile. My mother, Daily Mail indoctrinated, toted up Miss Nesbitt's men's trousers, string-belted, Millet's tartan shirt, builder's boots, and hinted darkly at something worse than food poisoning, lurking behind her offers to little bells of mildew biscuits. But beckoning us to view another injured bird, pushed from nest by siblings with fratricide intentions, she was Amazonian indifferent to the bare breasts it nestled between. Afterwards we worked our way back through the woods, our giggles bubbling up through hand-clamped mouths. "Did you see?" When she pitched up at Jo's house, cadging tea, sugar, conversation, her mother, who collected characters, would welcome her in for coffee, where in cut-glass voice, softened by Irish gentry lilt, she let slip Sorbonne, multilingual, Bletchley. Sometimes village youths came looking for fun. She would panic room crouch in locked van, hands over ears against hard rock drumming on vehicle sides, scrabbling for hold as they pitched the van like some nightmare fairground ride. Max out on pills and potions to keep the dogs at bay. Will you stay on my phone till I know you're in the door, so I know that you're okay? And oh my fragile friend, you put on weight since I saw you. I better love your
silence of this room, I glance up from my book to the clock. 2 hours have passed, it seems, too soon. Aware of this moment of time, I hear the tick and the tock, the fanfare into the future, the toll of a slick passing second. Sitting here in the cool silence of this room, I glance up from my biological clock, a half-century balanced on a pivot, like a child's slide pointing towards oblivion. I take stock. Remember that time, the tot with the short brown hair stumbling on. Sitting here in the cool silence of this room, I glance back from the clock to my book, living neither in the past nor the future. It's to this moment only I now look.
Heart room, heart sky. High in a house just anchored to the world, straining like a kite tugging at its string. The curve of ceiling, curve of roof, lifting off into a cobalt sky. A larkwing room to ride the summer thermals, soar and swoop in cornflower light reflected from sea to Wedgwood walls. And the days ahead in a mermaid room for growing gills and never surfacing to breathe. And me in the room, spun out from the world in the blue of the light, and the seagull cries and the bark of a dog and the crisp of the air, freewheeling down a country hill, feet off the pedals, wild into the wind.
What other numbers are there then in this house to represent my life and my time of living in it? 1 marriage, 2 births, 1 death, 42 years in this house, 3 days on the market, sold, 512,000 in pounds. 15 minutes now until the new occupant arrives, and I, the very old occupant, leaves. 4, the amount of nursing homes my daughter viewed before finding the perfect one. 12, the amount of weeks it took her to convince me that this place was too much for me now. 1 step I take off the little stool. 3 breaths I take before the numbers end.